Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Thank you everyone for joining this live product demonstration of Krow Professional Services Automation. We have lots to show over the next 30 minutes, so let's go ahead and get started. Here I'm logged into Krow and I'm starting off from my services dashboard. This is one example dashboard that we deliver with Krow Professional Service Automation. And right from this dashboard, as soon as I log in, as you can see, I get an at-a-glance view of my entire services organization, such as where we are with respect to revenue and income and expected revenue versus baseline, supply and demand information of my resources by role in this example. And if I scroll down on this dashboard, I can see additional information such as projects by status, utilization by resource and by role, my tasks by status, my top projects by billing or how much we've invoiced, and then some additional analytical information such as average hours spent per project, how much we've invoiced this year, what our services margin has been, and specifically what our project margin has been across various projects. And this example dashboard is one of many dashboards and reports that are delivered with Krow, and these are completely configurable. You can edit these, add more reports, and of course you can create your own dashboards and reports to support your business as well. So that's the services dashboard. Now that we've logged in, we have an at-a-glance of where we are with our service organization. Let's switch gears for a moment and start from the top, if you will, with respect to a new customer and or an existing customer where we want to engage with them and deliver services to them, professional services, consulting services to them. We're going to take that all the way through. So here as an example, I'm on an account or a customer. And those that are customers of Salesforce, you'll notice this is the same account record that Salesforce uses. Of course, you don't need to be a customer of Salesforce to use Krow, and you get access to accounts and customers and contacts aside, in addition, I should say, to everything that Krow delivers. But if you are, of course, are a Salesforce customer, you can benefit from this tight integration as Krow is 100% native on the Salesforce platform. But here I'm at an account looking at one of our customers, and if I scroll down, I can see everything such as contact information, opportunities, and cases from Salesforce if I'm a Salesforce customer. As I scroll down, though, you can see I also have my services proposals from Krow, as well as my project information from Krow, and I can click into these and start managing these proposals, projects, and more directly from the customer or from the opportunity. But in this example, I'm creating a proposal for the specific services engagement for this customer. And now what I've done is I'm accessing this proposal within Krow. And here what I can do is I can build up my proposal lines, whether it be hours or role-based, fixed fee items, expense budgets, whatever it may be. And as I'm building up those proposal lines, you can see the system is calculating for me what my expected or estimated revenue will be, what my budgeted cost is, and what my margin amount will be based on this proposal that I'm creating. And I can take that through the process of client acceptance. And if I just click on this little drop-down arrow here, you can see there's a lot of functionality or features with respect to proposals or services CPQ delivered with Krow, such as when I'm building up my proposal, I can decide to build a proposal from scratch, or I can import that from a project as a baseline proposal. I can even import from an opportunity, specifically opportunity product line items for those on the call that are Salesforce customers. I can add products from the product and price book within Salesforce as well, again, for Salesforce customers. So there's lots of options as you build up this services proposal. And when you're building up the proposal, you can then generate a proposal document, which I'm going to show in a moment. And if you already have linked this proposal to a project or to an opportunity, I can sync it to the opportunity, to the project, or I can go ahead and just create a new project from this proposal when the client has accepted when I'm ready to do so. So lots of functionality here, as you can see. But what you can also do, as I mentioned, is you can generate a proposal. So we have out-of-the-box integration with Conga for those that use Conga, or also WebMerge is another one that you can use. So we can integrate to those whereby you will create your templates, your proposal templates. You can create as many as you want using Conga in the integration. In this example, as you can see here, I'll just merge and download this. It's going to grab all of that proposal data and actually any data from the platform it can use as you create your services proposals or your statement of works. and it's going to generate that document for me, and I can email that directly to the account or to the prospect. And here's just a simple example of a proposal that I created. Not a very nice one necessarily, but it's extracted all that information directly from Krow and from the proposal, and has put it into your template-based documents as you create your statement of works. And in this example, we were looking at and using Conga as an add-in to Krow, and it could have been web merge, which is another favorite with our customers. So once I've created that proposal and the client's accepted that, then I can go ahead and start managing that project or creating that project. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch gears and I'm going to actually start looking at and managing a particular project. So now what I'm doing is I'm logging in as a consultant or maybe a project manager, and you can see I'm on their dashboard homepage. That can be completely different from a services executive or a VP of professional services. So in this case, when I log in as a project manager, I can see all of my tasks I might be working, all of the projects that I have access to and visibility to, and if I'm responsible for entering in time, I can also see what my utilization looks like this week, what my billable hours look like, my non-billable, my total hours, what all of my time looks like this week, and what my percentage of billable versus non-billable time is right from my homepage. I can also see if I have any items to approve, like timesheets or expenses, and I can see my overall projects and tasks by status right here. And again, this is completely configurable as well. And I can see I'm working on this client implementation, so I'm just going to go ahead and click into this project and start managing this project within Krow. And now that I'm in my Krow implementation or client implementation project, you can see I can see all of my tasks here and who's assigned those tasks. I can have many people working on tasks collectively. You can see which ones have attachments or time entered or checklist items, status of those tasks, duration, progress, hours burned, and so forth. And you can see you can drag and drop here as you're building up this project. You can create as many subtasks as you wish, so you can build up that project, and then you can start managing that project. I even have this embedded analytic view here where I can see where we are with respect to percentage complete, what's the project health, what's our hours burn, what's our margin or budget burn, and so forth. And this can be turned off for any users that shouldn't see this type of information. And then right from here, of course, I can click into a task and start managing that task. I can schedule resources on this task using many schedule modes like effort-based or hours-based. I can see what my time and actuals are against this particular task. I can even search for available resources to pick up this task if this was a placeholder task where I hadn't assigned the resource yet on this particular task. And what this is showing me here is who might have availability descending based on available hours, color-coded if they would be over or under scheduled based on this assignment. And I can go ahead and schedule that resource directly on this task. And the hours, the available hours that are showing here, the system is calculating what the availability is during this task duration or this time frame. So it's using that smart intelligence to know, well, how many hours available for this resource across all other projects and tasks they're working on during August 16th in this example here. I can manage my activity. I can see my checklist items on this task for completion, or I can collaborate on this using Chatter, where I can even email the client. And I can do a lot of other things in addition. I can enter time directly from this project and while I'm working the task. And when I enter the time here, it will show up in my timesheet later if I need to submit that time on a weekly basis. But I can enter the time right from here instead of having to navigate away to a timesheet page. I can even start my timer for those that want to use a timer. You can start the timer. You can pause the timer if you're on break or lunch or maybe working on another task, and I can stop that timer and save that time again directly to my timesheet. So that's managing a task. Of course, this being a project, you would expect there to be a project Gantt chart. So now I'm just navigating to the project Gantt chart that you can see here, and I can again drag and drop those tasks. You can see I've created dependencies between all of these tasks and lag days and milestones, and I can manipulate that. I can do inline editing of adding tasks. I can add more columns to my view, as you can see here. I can filter tasks. I can even export this to PDF, to PNG, to a CSV file, even to exporting this to MS Project. You can also create projects in Krow by importing from MS Project as well. Back to my project page just for a moment. A few other final features here. I can collaborate and add notes. And those notes can go to my customers by way of a status report. I can see a timeline of all key activity that's occurred for this particular project that you can see here, such as task status changed, total logged hours exceeded estimated hours, new project assignments, and so on and so forth. And of course, I can track all of my activity with respect to this project, such as I can see I emailed this project status report. I see I have some client training scheduled. This is a calendar event. I added a project note. I made a customer call, and so on. And I can add activity right from here as well. And then those familiar with Salesforce, we've actually added additional functionality in the standard email component where you can send an email to anybody, specifically or more likely someone part of the project team or the customer, and when they reply to that email, we are tracking that email automatically in Krow. So that whole email chain back and forth with the customer, including file attachments, as you can see here, we can track that all against the project as well. So I'm working my client implementation project. I have some placeholders, as you can see here, and I can go ahead and staff those placeholders, and those placeholders might have come from a project template. So now I'm looking at the plan or the resource plan just for this particular project. I can see color-coded where we are with this color coding, what the status is, total planned hours overall versus what's planned for this project. In this cell here, I can actually even see actual hours versus planned hours. I can go ahead and drag and drop and add more time to this project, as you can see here as well. But what I'm going to do in this example is I know I need to replace this placeholder on this project with an actual resource. And if I know exactly who that resource is, I can go ahead and swap that resource right here easily. But if I don't know who that resource is, I can go ahead and click on that placeholder name. And what it's going to do for me is it's going to bring me to a page where I can start to review availability. And I'm just going to, you can see I have a lot of filters available to me, and it's defaulted in filters attached to that placeholder, such as this consultant role, Oracle, and Salesforce skills. I'm actually just going to remove and only keep the Salesforce skills just for the purpose of the demonstration. And as I'm doing that, what the system is going to do is it's going to search for resources that match my criteria. And I can see two potential resources here and their available hours, color-coded based on their availability. And what's also a great feature that we recently delivered over the last 6 months or so is that I can actually look at what my total available hours are for resources, but I can also include placeholders that match my criteria that also are unstaffed on other projects. So I get a true net availability if I want to take into consideration other placeholders that still need to be staffed as well. And I can look at that, and I can even choose one or more resources and compare those resources in more detail to see if they're going to be a fit for this particular project. So I can see some additional details such as the team, region, practice location, their skills and their proficiency, their utilization targets, and even cost and bill rates. And this can be hidden from all or certain users as well, depending on their security. But if I want to take that in consideration for this project, I can do that as well. So that's managing projects in Krow. If I just switch gears now to my work, if my projects was top-down project-centric, my work is kind of bottom-up task-centric. So here, as a consultant or even a project manager, if I come into my work, and a lot of our customers will start their day on my work, I can see all of the tasks that I'm working on in the stages I'm working on those tasks across many projects. We see a lot of the time that consultants or even third-party vendors or consultants you might be working with to deliver your projects are working on many projects, not just one project. So here I can see color-coded by the different projects that I'm working on, such as my Krow implementation, my website design project, my marketing plan, client, and so forth implementation. And I can just drag and drop as I'm working on those projects and completing those. These statuses here or these Kanban sections are configurable by you as well. And I can also, just like we saw from the project page, I can click into this task. I can manage that task activities, enter time, just like we saw from the project page. I can do it right from the My Work page as well. And of course, I have lots of filters available to me if I just want to work on one particular project. So I can see just my client implementation project and work on that. And I have a lot of other filters available to me as well. And this is the Kanban view. Maybe a user prefers the due date view, so I can see what's overdue versus today, this week, next week, and later. I can still click in those tasks. I can multi-select tasks and complete those tasks from here as well. And if this was my preferred view, I can just click this checkbox and it will set this as my default view. So every time I come back into the My Work page, I'm going to start off from this view. Or maybe I prefer the calendar view as a user. So here's my calendar view, as you can see here. And again, same concept. Click in, manage those tasks, complete those tasks directly from my my calendar view. And by the way, we can synchronize to the Salesforce calendar as well, or even Salesforce tasks. And if you've integrated that to Outlook or Gmail, that information can be synchronized as well. So that's the My Work. Let's continue on to the Resource Planner. So we've started managing projects, started managing tasks, and now we want to see where is everyone in the services organization allocated to. So here I'm looking at the overall resource or the master resource planner. I can see all of my resources. I have a lot of filtering capability available to me. I don't want to see any placeholders or unassigned. I can search by resources or project status, accounts, teams, queues, roles, skills, regions, practice locations, and so forth. And in this case, I'm just going to click on a certain resource, and I can see all of the projects that Amit in this example is working on. He's booked here. Down here, he's soft booked, and that's color coded. And those color codes are configurable by you, and I can see them here in my legend as well. I can drag and drop and add more time, just like we saw from the project resource planner that you can see here as well. So in this example, as you can see, I can even have 1 week of book time on this project and the next week of soft book time. And we can do that right at the task level as well, which I'm going to show in a moment as well. And you might notice this row here that shows time off and PTO holiday. We also have time off management and holiday calendars, so that can be taken into consideration when scheduling resources as well, and even when scheduling resources on tasks. If I switch gears to what's called the schedule view, so here I can go one level deeper to tasks. I can manage task level scheduling directly from the master resource planner. I could have done this from the project plan as well. I'm just showing you here. And again, color coded by status, soft booked versus booked. And I can again drag and drop, but here I'm adding scheduled time at a task level as opposed to a project level, and I can go ahead and save that. And you can see I have a warning here that says if I schedule those hours for this resource during that time, they're going to be overscheduled by 44 hours based on other commitments and other projects. And I can continue to save that, or I can cancel that if I don't want to go ahead and do that. So this is the master resource planner. In addition, maybe you're not as concerned on what they're planned on, but maybe I want to see what their availability is. So this is looking just at availability versus at what they're scheduled on. And then finally, I can also look at utilization. I'll just go back into where I have some information here. But here's utilization, where I can see where they're actually been utilized based on billable time, and maybe I want to look at that in percentages instead of hours. So here I can see 108% utilization this week, 93 the next week on client implementation for Rebecca. And of course, as all your resources enter billable time against these projects, this will show here across all of your projects and resources what their billable utilization is on these particular projects. So that's the resource planner. Switching gears now, we're planning resources, managing projects, entering in time. When it's time to generate invoices, you can generate invoices directly from Krow as well. And I'm looking at an example invoice here, and I can see all of my line items, my expense items, fixed fee items, additional items, whatever is included in your organization when managing services engagements. I can preview that. And you don't need to use our invoicing and billing. In addition to using our own invoicing tool, you could just post those invoices or billing events to your accounting system, such as QuickBooks or Xero or Sage Intacct, Accounting Seed, and others, and generate the invoices from your accounting application if you so chose to. But here I can see in an invoice, and this is configurable by you, your logo and some of the formatting here. And as I scroll down, I've decided I want to drill a breakdown, I should say, because the client wants a breakdown of actual tasks by date, including notes that they worked on during this period of time. I want to see the statement of expenses, and I even want to attach my expense receipts to my invoice as well, and we can do that as well. And as I stated, you can also, instead of generating invoices from Krow, you might integrate that. And here you can see, as mentioned, we can integrate that to Accounting Seed, QuickBooks, Sage Intact, and others. Xero, as mentioned. We even have a recent integration with Expensify. So if you use Expensify in your business, we can integrate Expensify expenses to Krow so that you can invoice that to clients. And of course, that expense budget, reimbursable expenses can also be tracked against the project actuals as well. All right, so I'm managing my projects, I'm managing my time, and I've billed my customers. So now what I might want to do is, in managing your professional services business, want to make sure that your customers are successful, you have a high NPS. If you're a software company delivering services, you want to make sure that the customer success is high and there's going to be limited churn with your customer base. If you're a management or IT consulting firm, want to make sure that you've delivered a successful engagement across your business. And of course, hopefully that results in repeat business for organizations. So with that said, what we can also do now, Krow, is we can create surveys against accounts or customers or even projects, such as an annual survey, maybe a customer project survey. And if I look at, actually, I'll just look at this one here that I've already created. I can add as many questions as I want. We have currently 3 question types: a CSAT question type, a Net Promoter NPS question type, or a free-form question type, as you can see here. I just created, for demonstration purposes, a simple NPS question, the standard NPS on a scale of 1 to 10. How likely are you to recommend Krow to a friend or colleague? You can see here, and I can put in some branding, your logo, and so forth. And then I can send that survey off, whatever you wish, at project completion, during a stage in the project, or even at a customer level at the end of the year, whatever you desire. And then if I switch gears here, this can automatically send an email to the client, as you can see here, and the client can click on this and begin their survey. And here you can see I have access to the survey now as a customer, and I can go ahead and complete that and submit that response. And once that's submitted, it will go automatically into Krow, into the survey records, and then you can report and analyze based on your surveys for, again, projects or customers, and overall NPS, NBS by project type, by location, region, whatever you wish. So you can have more detailed information to the actual success of your project engagements and what you might have to do different to increase that success as you move forward. With that, finally, what we can do is we can start managing our business forward-looking. So now that I've managed my engagements, the customer is live or has been successful in that engagement, and now I want to start forecasting and planning for future engagements. So what I'm doing now is I'm just switching gears and looking at this specific report. This is a resource capacity plan report. And in this report, what I'm looking at is what is my capacity and what does my supply look like, supply and demand of my resources out into the future, as far into the future as you've started planning. So here what I can see is, if I scroll down, I've chosen in this report that I want to see by role, by date, what my capacity looks like. In this example, I've turned on a few things. I'm looking at what my planned hours are for certain roles, and it's calculating what my available capacity is. If I want to look at my available capacity just by statuses, such as hard allocation, I don't want to worry about soft booked resources, or maybe I want to include or exclude pipeline projects. So you can have projects that have a status of pipeline. Maybe they're still an opportunity in Salesforce, or just that they haven't closed one yet. You're still in the proposal stage, and I can specify that as well. And you can see here that it's color coded. If I have positive capacity or if I have negative capacity, I'm in a capacity crunch and I'm going to need 12 account managers, or more specifically, 2 QA people in August, and moving forward, I have a negative with respect to my capacity. So I might have to look at those projects and staff those maybe with third-party consultants and so on. So that's the capacity planning report. We have a few remaining moments, so maybe I'll look at just a few quick other reports. Actually, I'll just look at this environment here. And let's look at the project forecast report. So Krow delivers a specific forecasting engine. And here, what it's doing is it's delivering a forecast and actual, so you can compare actuals versus forecast of both revenue, budget, cost, and hours, as you can see here. And in this simple report, I'm just looking at what the actual versus forecast is. Actual revenue versus forecast revenue. You can see down below, though, there's a number of different elements that I'm tracking, and I can report on whether it be actual versus forecast, margin, hours, budget, build, and so forth. In the system, actually takes into consideration billing types. So as an example, if it's time and expense, we can forecast what the revenue is going to be based on the schedule of resources against those projects and or tasks. We know what their bill rates are, what their scheduled hours are, and we can forecast that time and expense. If you have a retainer project, we can forecast what the retainers are. If you have milestone payments, we forecast when those milestone payments are becoming due, and we can forecast that revenue as well. So it takes into consideration all of the billing types within your particular projects as well. And then finally, we can look at another dashboard, in this case, a project financials dashboard. So now I want to look at the health of my services business. And here I can see what my project margins look like, my revenue summary looks like, comparing how much we've invoiced versus how much we expected, how much we've recognized to date from revenue recognition. I also have a module for revenue recognition compared to my baseline revenue, what my estimated at completion looks like. And as I scroll down here, I can get additional project financial metrics such as revenue recognition, what my deferred revenue balance looks like, what my revenue backlog looks like, what my time and expense billing forecast looks like, and so forth. And as mentioned earlier, they're completely configurable, where you can drag and drop, add new reports. They can be user specific and so on. So lots of flexibility here when creating reports and dashboards, in addition to the reports and dashboards that we deliver out of the box with Krow. So with that, hopefully that was informative as far as Krow professional services automation and what Krow delivers for organizations to manage a complete end-to-end services organization with Krow PSA. I want to thank everyone for attending today's session. It will be recorded, and the recording will be sent to you. If you do have any additional information or would like to contact Krow, please contact us at contact@krowsoftware.com. You can also find some contact information on our website at www.krowsoftware.com, where you can also sign up for a free trial of Krow PSA. Thanks again.